Hello viewers, Brierton videos here, and welcome to what is my unexpected review of the Logitech G29 racing wheel. Yes, it's fine. I finally got a new wheel, ladies and gentlemen. After what happened to the G27, a new puppy has arrived, and it's this one here. Now I know what you're thinking. Brierton, you said you wouldn't be getting one till Christmas. Yes, I did say that. However, the kind people at Logitech have offered me two choices of their wheels. One being the Logitech G29, the other being the Logitech G920. And after doing a bit of research, I went for the Logitech G29 because it has more features on it than the Logitech G920 does. So let's talk about the wheel itself. As you can see, it's more of an updated version of the Logitech G27. However, though, there's more buttons and features included on the G29 that was not on the G27. For example, here, remember when I used to have the G27? All the buttons, most of the configuration would be done on these buttons here. For example, the D-pad and all. Now it can be done just here. So, for example, just say if I'm racing along and I need to quickly go into the pit menu to adjust some pit settings, I could just press these buttons here, right from here altogether, without having to struggle adjusting these buttons here while trying to keep one hand with the steering wheel altogether. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Though I even got my old G27 shifter working with the G29. I even found there was a video on YouTube where this person demonstrated how it's possible to use your G27 shifter on a G29. It's also possible to use on the G27 pedals here. But these are the pedals that came with the Logitech G29, which is roughly more or less the same as the G27 pedals over here. However, though, only difference is with the brake pedal. It feels more sensitive, more lighter than the other one is. Basically, with the other one, I had to constantly put a little bit more pressure, on it. But in this case here, I don't have to put as much pressure on the G29 pedals as I did back on the G27. But the G27 pedals do work on the G29, so it'll be there as a backup just in case these pedals fail on me. So as you can see, the G29 is for the PS4. However, you can use it on the PC as well. But in this case, though, but on the G920, it's for the Xbox One. However, you can also use that for the PC. So that gives PC gamers a choice of the G920 or the G29. In this case, I went for the G920, or not the G920, the G29. Also, the buttons here feel a lot more springier than normal. Also, sorry, not that they feel more springier. They feel more easier to navigate. It's more easier to know what button you're pressing. Unlike on the Logitech G27, where you had to guess what button works what. There's buttons here that is configured to the PS4 layout, so that way you know what button to press when you're racing in any racing game whatsoever. And this is the software that came with the this is the software that's used for to download, that's used to operate your G29. You have your choice of the pedals here, and this is the shifter that comes with the Logitech, that comes with the Logitech G29. However, I didn't buy that shifter. I didn't buy the shifter with the Logitech G29, since the Logitech G27 actually works with the Logitech G29. Only these buttons here don't work with the Logitech G29 because these buttons here have replaced it. So that's personally understandable. So I won't have to worry about so as I said, I don't have to worry about trying to configure these buttons here when I can just do it up here instead. Also, on the profiler, it's more easier to navigate than on the Logitech G27 profiler. The profiler system actually works more better on the Logitech G29 than it did back on the Logitech G27. Based on the last profiler settings, I had to basically go in and out of the games just to get the the degrees of rotation set correctly. But in this case, though, it's all there for. But in this case, here in the profiler, it's all there for me, ready to go. So I can just click on the profiler and then away. So that way, when I start up a game, the profile will be automatically assigned. So that way, I won't have to worry about going back in and out of the profiler once I have the Logitech gaming software profiler loaded up and ready to go. So what I did here, unlike back in my G27 video, I've taken 3 games, and those games are F1 2017, Assetto Corsa, and R Factor 2 for this test. So that way you get an idea on how this wheel performs. So then we kick off with Assetto Corsa, and on Assetto Corsa, the wheel definitely felt a lot stable, especially on the force feedback end, where the wheel was responding well to Assetto Corsa. And while I was driving, the pedals felt good, the wheel felt very well, and the Logitech G27 shifter was cooperating with the Logitech G29, no problem whatsoever. Especially as you can see in this BMW M1 here, driving the car felt very pleasant with the G27, especially with the feel on the leather. It felt very nice along with the force feedback. However, at 1 or 2 points, I was trying to get used to the brake pedal, but as you can see at these few clips here, I was going off wide at 1 or 2 parts because of the brake pedal here. However, other than that though, getting the wheel set up was quite easy actually. I had no problems with Assetto Corsa whatsoever, and the G29 performed well on Assetto Corsa in my opinion. Moving on to F1 2017 now, and the wheel felt, this is where the wheel was at its best on F1 2017, because the wheel I felt was very responsive, especially the force feedback end of it, where all you had to do was use the little amount of turns, and the wheel and the car would just turn for me. You know, I didn't have to just chug it in hard to the right or just chug it in hard to the left. I could just gently turn the car right or turn the car left, and it will still turn for me. The cars on F1 2017 were very smooth to drive with the G29, and even made it more easier to find to use the DRS on F1 2017, where I had to press the L2 button here, and then the DRS would work for me. It was more easier to use the MFD, all the menus in F1 2017. Even in the racing situation, as you can see here, I'm racing on the Montreal circuit in Canada, and even there, the wheel felt very smooth and responsive. While yes, I had to have the Logitech software open for the wheel to be at its full effect. However, though, nevertheless, though, the wheel did perform very solid on F1 2017, especially the way, as you can see, when I'm navigating my way through the MFD. It was generally more easier to navigate through the MFD. However, sometimes when I'm turning, my thumb tends to slip on the D-pad, and I might accidentally select the left instead of right by accident, or even go down a function too low than the one I wanted originally. But other than that, though, on F1 2017, the G29 really performed at its best, thanks to the force feedback from F1 2017, as well as the Logitech profiler, in my opinion. On R Factor 2, however, though, it was very difficult to get set up. At first, though, when I tried to get started up, it wasn't cooperating with the G29 that well. So there I was constantly going through the options, going onto forums, trying to get the Logitech G29 to work properly. But my first impression, though, when I first started up R Factor 2 with the Logitech G29, the wheel felt really, really sluggish, and I was having a very difficult time trying to get the wheel working. But then after a while, looking through it, there was one on the forum. There was one of the forums that said
set it as persistent profile and turn off the vehicle set of the force feedback, so that way I was able to get the wheel working properly. But then after about over a day trying to get the wheel working right, I finally managed to do that, like I said, managed to get it set via the persistent profile option, and now the wheel is working a lot more better now than it was when I first started. However, this is all depending on the vehicle I use. For example, on the McLaren 650S from the GT3 pack, it was okay. The force feedback was fine. You know, it was pretty average force feedback. I mean, it wasn't the best force feedback, nor was it the worst force feedback, but it was good force feedback. But on the prototype from the URD mod, the force feedback felt a little bit more better. But that's all because I adjusted the minimum torque to about 10 to 20%. So that way the wheel would still have a bit of punch to it when racing along in R Factor 2. I haven't tried this with all the other vehicles yet in R Factor 2, but I imagine the minimum torque option will work well for vehicles like the ones in the GT3 pack from SimTech.
So I'll now do a pros and cons on this wheel. The pros are, it's a massive step up. It's a very decent upgrade to the G27. It's more easier to navigate through the menus when you're racing in various racing sims like F1, for example, where you can just adjust the fuel or your fuel mixture or the brake bias or anything like that with the D-pad here, making life more easier for you when you're racing. The pedals here, they're very nice pedals. Which means they're more easier to press. Which the brake pedal is more easier to press down than on the G27 did. And another good pro is that my G27 shifter actually works with the G29, so that is a massive plus point. The shifters here also feel more nicer. They're more lighter than the G27 shifters did, so that's a positive. And the way it feels though, the leather on this wheel is more nicer. It's definitely more nicer than on the G27. But now the cons. The only con I do have against this, the only two cons I have against this wheel is that sometimes when I turn from here, it doesn't make any noise, but when I turn from here, it makes this kind of squeaking noise sometimes. I don't know if you can hear that, but it makes this squeaky noise, which is a little bit annoying, but it doesn't affect my racing in any way. Also, on the software profiler, while it is more easier to navigate your way around it more than the Logitech G27 profiler is, it is a little bit more difficult to try and get the degrees of rotation working for certain games. As I said back in R Factor 2, it was more difficult. It was more tedious to try and get the wheel set up for R Factor 2. So yeah, it is a little bit tedious to get the wheel set up from the profiler. However, once you do get past that, this wheel is fantastic. So overall, a fantastic upgrade from the Logitech G27 with lots of new buttons that makes it more easier to use. However, though, if you can get past its tedious setup time, it is well worth in the long run. So I just want to say, Logitech, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wheel. You guys are absolute legends when it comes to racing wheels at an affordable price, like the Logitech G29 here. So that is my review on the Logitech G27. I hope not the Logitech G27, the G29. Excuse me. Hope you enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys in my next video.